Welcome back. Welcome in. It's Country Roads Confidential at earsports.com. This is a Paramount podcast. I'm Mike Casaza. That's Chris Anderson. Chris, we have just witnessed the worst West Virginia loss in 121 seasons. Surprised? It's a big number.
It is a big number. Worst ever. Worst in 121 seasons. Strong. Like, um, let's start it. Let me start it with this, Mike. If you're asking if I was expecting it, Nepo reporter has
Oh,
decided to tell me the other day that he's smarter than Vegas and wants to know why we just don't gamble all the time because these lines are so easy. So I told him this weekend to make me a list of all of his picks against the spread. Teach him a lesson. Not actually wagering money. He picked West Virginia to win this game. Excuse me, to cover this game. I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "That's a lot of points. Nobody loses by that many points." I said, "You know, there's a good chance they will lose by more than that many points." And even I didn't think we'd get to 49-0, Mike. That was bad. That was it. Again, we go back to, we usually do hey, what are we talking about at 4:30 on game day?
yeah.
And I forgot what mine was. So I went back and during the middle of the game, when it was 35-0 at the start of the second quarter or whatever it was, to find the video. And I said, we could be sitting here afterwards talking about, man, what a canyon of difference in talent between these two teams. Just a huge, huge difference. And Mike, is canyon too small of a word? Is that too small?
Big. Do you remember what mine was?
No, what?
Basically, this might happen.
Yeah.
Like this is going to send you into the offseason either in a really good way or a really bad way. And can they use the open week to make something feel good about them? A win, something competitive. Hey, there's a reason I want to be a part of this because, as you mentioned, the boom or bust nature with the recruits on campus too. That was mine too. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, they could have kicked a field goal at some point,
Yeah. Nah.
but like, listen, he's not worried. They're not worried about us talking about this on a podcast. But if you're, let's just sew these things up because again, they are kind of trivial. But last loss by more than 49 points, and there have been a couple that were close, but 53 nothing against Pitt in 1904. You thought that was bad, Chris? 130 to nothing the week before.
It's a rough
So
couple weeks.
losing 53 to nothing was terrific by the standards of just 7 days earlier too. So yeah, the first shutout since 2013, the first shutout at home since Rodriguez's first season, which is 2001, and that doesn't matter. Again, those are things you say and you they don't really matter because the season wasn't going anywhere. And Texas Tech was markedly better before the game, twice as good than the point spread indicated too. That said, that is the lasting image of this team. That Houston game feels like forever ago. The progress feels like it maybe wasn't as much or it didn't take like you want. And you just kind of pour water on a lot of things like that where it not too long ago seemed pretty good. And this is a team the last time we saw them was playing really well on the road against Arizona State. And you thought maybe, even with a loss, this continues. And I think people are just going to be willing and eager to forget that because 49 to nothing is a mouthful. And it's not just that. Again, they could have had some points. It could have kicked a field goal here or there. It was so bad from the very beginning. And this is a team coming off an open week that had to figure out a way to do something with this final game. You and I talked about it, not exclusively, an extremely awkward position for this team. How do you get it going? How? How do you fire a team up to play? And it was just like, well, that's the number 7 team in the country. You don't get a chance to do it very often. Maybe make some history, maybe make some chaos. None of that was on display. None of it from the very beginning. The first unoriginal series on offense, the first destructive series in defense, and it just went on and on and on. And then before long, it's the lava's flowing. There's you got to get out of the way, and there's no way that was going to go back uphill, and it was going to reverse. So, what a lot of people thought was inevitable arrived really early.
What, you mean like the third play of the game where the entire right side of the offensive line didn't block anybody and Scotty Fox got sacked for 11 yards? That one?
Yeah, that one that was good.
Does that qualify of exactly what we thought would happen very early?
Exactly, including the personnel too, which is just so strange to me. Didn't foresee like changes for the sake of change because they haven't done that, and Rodriguez said they weren't going to do that. But just having watched this now for so long, how that is the best combination of five, I don't know. And then what's weird is that unfortunately Kimo Makaniole gets hurt. They bring in Walter Youngbear, and then they go with Josh Isosa for the rest of the game too. So they did. I mean, and honestly, like the second half, late third quarter on, they were subbing and rolling people in too. Because what does it matter? But they had to know there was something better on the right side, right? They had to know, and yet just put those guys out there, and history repeated itself there, so to speak. I don't know what you want to do with this game. Do you want to spend much time on the game here?
Well, we can talk about a couple things. There's something I wanted to ask you that I know the fans like to ask me, and I think they've asked you before.
This is about
Um,
Scotty Fox.
is Scotty Fox the man? Will West Virginia recruit a transfer portal quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still, again, I don't want to put too much in this in one game. The reason that you don't want to spike the football when he has a really good game is because that games like this happen.
Yeah.
Well, the reason you don't want to get too down about a game like this is because a game like this will happen, but also that 330 yards and two touchdowns will happen too. So this is just all part of the mosaic. It doesn't, you don't break the picture up. You don't make a permanent decision because of this. You make your permanent decision because this is part of what 6 starts now he has. Unfortunately, it's a lasting impression for him, but it's just part of it. It's not, I don't think you upvote, downvote based on this alone, although this probably leads you more in one direction than another just because it wasn't as good, but I don't think it brings you all the way down the road either.
Yeah. No, I don't think this game changed much about my personal opinion, and I don't think your personal opinion because we have been of the same mind of this of yeah, the 300-yard passing is great. Yeah, a couple wins is great. They still need a portal quarterback. Like it's just too important of a position to just kind of assume like that. So, no, but my real question was 22 spots on the field. Let's say 25. Let's count punter, kicker, and return man to give WVU a chance here. You pick the best player from both teams. You get to combine these teams to make a starting lineup. How many West Virginia players are starting? Over under 1.5?
Um,
Let's go. I mean, we don't need to go into specifics, but let's start on offense. Anybody on offense? I mean, certainly nobody on the offensive line. I mean, Jeff Weimer might have an argument after today, but so could everybody on Texas Tech. Like, I mean, they're throwing in like third and fourth string wide receivers that.
by the way, you remember Micah Hudson?
Mhm.
He's just a guy in that team
Yeah,
coming in the third quarter and catching 2 touchdowns. It's a 5-star recruit, doesn't play.
yeah,
And he's been a little bit well traveled and had some personal stuff going on, but like he left there and he came back
yeah.
because there was no market for him. I wouldn't give anybody an offense.
No. So then you get the defense, and Texas
Like
Tech has
their
the
quarterback's pretty good. Their running backs are very good. Their tight end's excellent for what they do. Their offensive line is probably one of the better ones out there. I like their receivers more, so we're out of space there.
yeah. Their defensive line, which again, maybe that might have been the bright spot of West Virginia's play so far, like during the game today. Like they actually seemed to be able to compete-ish with what was happening in the first half. Again, I'm kind of focusing my attention on the first half because, as you noted, the second half was whatever. Um, but still, that's the best unit. Texas Tech's defensive line is one of the best units in the entire country. So I don't know if anybody on West Virginia's defensive line is starting with them.
Think Vesteranen could play on that defensive line,
Yeah,
especially if he's wired like he was today. He definitely had some gas in his tank, but I wouldn't take a starter from West Virginia over Texas Tech. But that's not a surprise either.
linebacker.
I don't know who their second linebacker is, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just all Rodriguez.
So, but like, are you saying Carrico or Wilson is better than that guy? I don't think so. I'd have to look at their 2D, but no, I like their corners, safeties.
So
Just, I
real,
mean,
it's like, is this a Fred Perry question? And Fred Perry, who left in the first quarter with an injury?
yeah, and then Filippo's he'd had a hard day out there. That's a tough draw for him. I mean, yeah, you might be under half here, under 1.5 for sure. But yeah, I mean you said gap. I mean, gap's a pretty good word. Canyon's a pretty good word
Yeah.
for what they're dealing with here. But yeah, I'm just thinking through my head here. Even on defense, like their corners are good, their nickel's good, their safeties are good players, especially in the run. Like they really defend the run as a team. I mean, I really can't think of anybody there now.
Okay. I was gonna say that's something we get asked a lot, like from fans. Oh, if you put, how who would start? Here you go. If you took West Virginia's roster, put them on Texas Tech, who would start out of that? And I think the answer, and I put the line at 1.5, and I think you are under 1.5 for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm gonna grab my two deep here while we're talking and go through this. That can't possibly be true, right? But it does sound like it's probably realistic too. Punter, kicker, we didn't really get into that. I don't know, maybe Straw.
Yeah.
Weird season for him continues. I don't even I, Chris, couldn't tell you a lot about their special teams. Love the fake punt. That was interesting, but if we're talking about the best edge for West Virginia is in the specialist area, the lone edge for West Virginia is in the specialist area. That's probably an answer to the question by its own.
Yeah, that fake punt, by the way, I mean, they talked about it on the on television broadcast again for those listening maybe for the first time. I'm watching on television. Mike's there in the booth, so he's not getting the television feed, but they're talking on there about how that was a essentially a read from them. They line up that way, and if the numbers say one thing, you fake it. And 99 times out of 100, the opposing teams
Yep.
go, "Yeah, we're not going to let you do that." And the numbers are not right, so then they shift a little bit and they punt it. And West Virginia was just asleep. And I know Rich Rodriguez seemed displeased with the fake field goal, but that's like a player call. Like it's a player read during the game. And during the game, again, this was on the television feed. I don't know if you had your binoculars out, but Rich Rodriguez immediately afterwards turned around and just started reaming into Pat Kirkland, the special teams coach for WVU, just
Mhm.
laying into him. So I think he knows it was a call, and that was just essentially laziness on West Virginia's behalf that allowed Texas Tech to do that. So tough spot, but I mean, tough spot in a long day of tough spots for West Virginia.
Yeah, and people ask me this too. Why does West Virginia do that weird like muddle huddle when they do extra points? Same thing.
Yeah,
If you don't match up, they're just going to take the 2 points really easy.
right.
So
It's
similar.
all it is a read.
Yeah.
So can't
Yeah,
get upset with
similar,
that.
similar motivation. I just from the very beginning, like just talking about like what you saw there and that was that was kind of contagious on defense too. Their defense was not getting lined up, coming out subbing this like that, which you have to do. I understand when Texas Tech gives you a chance to sub, you got to do it, take your time. But Texas Tech was waiting and waiting, and as soon as the ref moved, go. And there are many times West Virginia wasn't set. I think they got a penalty for having too many men on the field on a touchdown too.
Yeah.
So it just didn't seem like they were ready to play. And Texas Tech even with the Big 12 title in the bag before they took the field, excuse me, Big 12 championship game appearance in the bag before they took the field, ready to go out and make a point and style points today too, including getting Jacob Rodriguez in, getting a hot lead, spreading the ball around, getting your quarterback out early. They probably had a list of things to do today, and I would imagine apart from getting out healthy, everything went off like they wanted to.
Yeah. Did you find anybody on that too deep? No.
Like they run three linebackers out there. West Virginia only runs two, so you're talking about, but like Ben Roberts is a good player. He's one of their linebackers. I like Wisniewski a lot. He's their safety. That's one guy I was thinking of. Curry's their other safety. Their other safety, again, I just collectively, I wouldn't, probably
Yeah.
wouldn't. Okay. Who are West Virginia safeties at this point, too? Like they've flip flopped a bunch this year.
Right.
Um, and again, Texas Tech, again, of their spots on defense, eight of the positions will go from start to finish out of sub. Like they started the entire schedule, eight of them. One of them they flip the corners, and it's been different. One of them is an injury, and one of them, the defensive end from Stanford, starts 11 of 12 games. So basically, nine out of positions they haven't changed their starters because they like who they have, and you can tell they're really good on defense too. Their run defense is very good to watch.
Um, what else do we need to talk to from this game? Uh, it didn't get brought up in post game, except for on our board and on our social media because I've been alarmed at the responses to this. But I posted the video. Did you see it of the Cam Vaughn on the interception from Max Brown, where he
Uh,
underthrew Cam Vaughn by about, I mean, again, like 5 to 10 yards, which was
mhm.
not the point of my posting of the video. But then Vaughn sees that it's underthrown, doesn't move to come back to it, which there's problem one, and then just kind of continues to jog off into the sunset
He
as
was
the
Bo Jackson in the Kingdom,
yeah,
just kept
just
going up the
jogging. He
tunnel.
just
Yeah,
kept going,
yeah.
and like it gets intercepted, and they're running the other direction. And I haven't gone back. Somebody messaged me privately um, and said, go back and watch the video again. Jeff Weimer's deep on the other end of the other side of the field, and he sprints 50 yards back to make the tackle.
Him and Bomar were in there on the tackle.
Yeah.
Uh, like
So,
like that kid never plays,
yeah.
and he came across the field, went through traffic. Not Bomar. Bomar's his last name. Armani Weaver.
Yeah.
Armani Weaver Bomar now. It's Chamarius Bomar's brother. He makes the tackle too. He's in there, and he's the slot receiver who's working through traffic. They're offensive linemen who were in the play, and yeah, Vaughn knows he's not going to catch it. He keeps going, and he's in the end zone and looping back, and he doesn't. He just didn't want to get back in that play.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to watch.
It was. And I posted, I was like, this is not, of all the things that would drive Rich Rodriguez nuts, I feel like this is like number one with a bullet, like right
Mhm.
at the top. And it just a lot of people in my mentions and a lot of people responding like, whatever. I'm like, whatever. That is, oof. And for whatever it was, again, it's hard to know, but he never came back into the game after that. Maybe it was his choice. Maybe it was the coach's choice. Maybe it was, they're down 42 nothing. They're making subs, but went back in the next drive. Rodney Gallagher went back in the next drive. He did not, and
Are
never
you
saw
sure
him
he didn't
again.
go back in and get into a fight with the sideline on the next possession and then he
Oh,
was
did he?
done?
Oh, did
Don't
he?
you remember that he was the one who was throwing with the sideline on the Texas Tech side, and then he came out of the game. I don't know if it was before or after that, but like he had an eventful day for sure.
He did.
Um,
But
I know we like to watch this business decisions.
hmm
There were a couple.
felt like there were a couple in the first half for sure too on defense. Some of those third and longs that Texas Tech was converting, there seemed to be some business decisions on whether or not to lay a hit, make a tackle.
The one that
Big,
really surprised me was Darian Lewis on Douglas's first touchdown. It's a post right into the middle of the end zone. He catches it before the goal line, and Lewis is there sizing him up and doesn't pull the trigger. I couldn't believe it. Like a safety lives for that. Just
yeah,
hit him. Like you got a really good shot. He's walking into your zone there. Like you hit him. That's the part of the defense there. And if he comes across the middle, you're the safety. You're supposed to hit him. But and sometimes I'm not accusing him of like taking the play off, but uh, he had his moments today too. But maybe that's a targeting thing, defenseless player thing, and you're worried about it. But I think your best defenders don't even worry about that. They're
I mean,
going for the
yeah,
ball.
most safeties dream of that situation. They are
Yeah.
dreaming of that.
Yeah. And like it just never, he just kind of went, and shoot, you got me, walked into the end zone there too. But that guy probably makes that catch anyways, because the catch he made later in the game was phenomenal against some good. I know West Virginia's corners are going to get dogged for some stuff, seeing way too much of the back of their helmet, the back of their jersey. And maybe Texas Tech's confidence is just a sign of disrespect for West Virginia's defensive back. A lot of one-on-one balls out there too. Played man and lost it sometimes too, including a draw play where 3rd and 15 they run a draw and they get caught looking at the receiver, not the ball, which is that's what happens to man sometimes. Zone defense, you're going to have all the eyes on the ball. Um, they got picked apart in zone. They got picked apart in man. Deep passes against man zone. They're really good against zone. Heard that during the week. Uh, just you'd like to get well or well actually some of this stuff here, but apart from nope, never mind. I can't think of anything really.
Yeah.
Just an odd game all around.
Well, let's go to Rodriguez's post game then. He
Yep.
says he's going to fix it. Wait, was that his? Yeah, those were his words.
Here we
I thought
go.
it was Bob Huggins again. Sorry. Um, says he's going to fix it. Says he knows the problems. Says he's been doing this a long time. He knows what the problems are. He admits that some of those problems have been there all season long. And they're going to work to fix them. Some will be fixed immediately. Some might take some more time. Sounds like a lot of problems. Sounds like he's not afraid to admit or say that some of them are with coaching. Um, some of them are with a lot of them are with players. Like, I mean, he pointed out rightfully that they put guys into one-on-one situations, that they had blockers on blockers blocking the right guy, but just got whooped. They had defenders with 50-50 balls that had zero chance of beating the Tech. Simply putting, like the Texas Tech players were better than West Virginia's players. But also noting that I think he said what a couple hundred people that are involved in the program, and he will be evaluating all of them. Going to weight room,
First thing
nutrition.
he mentions, Chris, is the weight room.
God, that's going to get the
We
people on
got
the
to be
message board
bigger,
riled.
bigger, faster, stronger. I got to look at the weight room. I love our weight room, but I got to look at the weight room.
Hmm.
Caught me attention there. Yeah, so I'm not sure he's going to tell you what the problems are. We've tried, but he mentioned fixes, and the fix thing here is obviously to be, kind of tongue in cheek a little bit too. But darn if it's not important too. So you ask him, what are your fixes? Is it personnel related? Is it what's happening in practice? What are the fixes? Where do you begin? And kind of said like it's everything. I'm looking at nutrition. I'm looking at the weight room. I'm looking at this and looking at that. They're gonna. I mean, I think they're gonna. I don't think there's a position on the roster that they're not gonna look at and try to upgrade or think that they can upgrade. I don't know who's bulletproof on this roster. Like, is there somebody that you don't want to bring in a player for fear he might leave? Who would that be? Is there somebody? There
No.
might be. Like, maybe you don't want to go out and sign a right tackle right now. Not because of Malik Agbo, but for like Kevin Brown, maybe,
I
right?
was like, who are you
Yeah.
worried about?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean that's what I'm saying. But like I don't think that they're gonna rock and roll like that. So they're probably gonna have to figure out where they start, how they prioritize. They're gonna have a meeting on Monday about their roster and what they do and where they go. Who do they proceed with and how? Again, what was weird about this week, and you can't tell me this isn't somewhat related, but they told people they got to take a hike during the open week. So I think that just the finality of everything and knowing that everything is going to change, that's very difficult to manage. I understand that. Like you got to do it, sure, but it is going to be a factor in how your teams practice and prepare and play in that finale when they have zip to play for. That looked like a team that knew it had nothing to play for today. Didn't
Yeah.
see a whole lot.
Um,
But the fixed thing was really interesting. Is he just I think everybody knows they got to get better players, but for him to start with some, I mean, I think to the common fan, like ancillary stuff off the field, like our nutrition program and our weight room. I don't know if that's like look over here and not here because I'm going to get a new whatever quarterback, middle linebacker, star receiver. Perhaps it's that. I don't think that people are going to be paying a lot of attention to who's going into like LinkedIn for job searches for lead nutritionist or anything. So people are really going to be paying attention to the roster and what they do and how fast it starts. And I mean, what do you think, Chris? Monday, Tuesday, you start seeing the reports about will enter the portal. I don't think it's gonna be very long.
yeah, it won't take long. And I think you're going to see, and he mentioned numbers today during the post game, and I'm going to write about it because I think people have a lot of questions where he said he's going to get 40 high school and junior college kids and like a dozen transfers. Feels like there should be more transfers, right? Just based off of what you saw today, that you might need more help than that. I think first off, the belief, if you were to believe those numbers, I believe that it's gonna I believe that's the best case scenario in their mind is 40 and 12. I think it's going to be higher for both. Um, Second, your hope is that some of these junior college players can essentially replace those kind of second tier transfers. So, like, you get like this last cycle, they went out and got a bunch of transfers, knowing that a number of those transfers would not be starters, but they got them because they needed the depth. They needed the second string guy. They needed the specialist. They needed the guy that maybe 2 years from now he can help. Now they're hoping that these junior college players can fill those roles and they don't have to spend the money to get them. So essentially, if they had gotten, if you're looking for a backup linebacker, I'm just picking a random spot here. A backup linebacker, you can get one in the transfer portal. It might cost you 30 grand, 40 grand, whatever it is. But if you get one from junior college, that's going to be a sophomore or junior with a little bit of experience, maybe even a bounce back guy. That guy's going to cost you nothing, maybe 5 grand. So if you can get an extra 20 grand here, an extra 30 grand there, an extra 40 grand there. Sorry, my dog is, stop it, man. The dog is chewing the side of the table here.
What?
It's shaking the whole computer. Um, you can save some money that way because I think their goal here is to fill those secondary and tertiary spots with high school and junior college kids. And then that way you can really truly spend the money on 12 absolute dudes. We'll find out if I mean, I think that's their goal. I'm not even saying that. I know that's their goal. That is their goal. Capital P person told me that is their goal is to spend their money more of instead of like a shotgun approach of spending, let's say 4 million, just to say a number, 4 million across 40 different people, spend 4 million on 12 people and try to get it going there. Get your 12 dudes out of the transfer portal with your money and then fill in around the edges with your junior college players and your high school evaluations and try to go that route.
It's the way to go too, for sure. And that's one thing too. You used to think, all right, we need a two deep, we need two linebackers, we have two positions, we need four linebackers. Yeah, but you're the gap between one and two. you're really hoping to not need that guy or use that guy very much. And maybe over time he becomes a good player. But yeah, if you're going to spend a million, let's just say if you're going to spend $1 million among four linebackers, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to give three-quarters of it to your top two guys, maybe 80% of it, maybe
Right.
more. So that'll be yeah, that's the way to go now. But that's what's exciting, I think, for people who believe in this and that it's going to work is that the first time you're right, bird shot. You got to go out and get as many players as you can and spend what it takes. And understanding that you only have a limit of what you can spend, so you're really going to have to cut the corners on some and try to get people cheap and hope it works. And like a Logan Ramper, not fair. But let's just say him. It's a Division II transfer who was accomplished at Slippery Rock. Never really plays this year. Probably the biggest thing he did was give 18 to Curtis Jones so Curtis Jones could play offense, right? He takes off his 22. So you're going to have those people there, but I think you're going to need fewer of them. And the 12 transfers, we agree, that's impact transfers, right?
Yeah.
They may end up with 25 transfers, whatever, but you're going to find that second half of them, maybe half of them can contribute. Maybe a couple are flyers or they're players with eligibility left, like an Ashton Woods or a Ryan Ward. Were they supposed to really help immediately this year? Maybe a little bit, but they're players who have time on their side too and can give you a couple of years, so that might work too. It's the one thing I just that I don't know about, and I don't know how this changes. What we're talking about, their acquisition model, that changes for sure. What I don't know how this changes because it hasn't changed, and in the small amount of time we've had the transfer portal, and it's more likely to be out of control because the money involved is retention. That's what I don't know. Now,
Yeah.
do they have so many players they have to keep? We have said no. They're gonna have to keep a lot of players, right? Just because the spots you need to keep them, you have to fill them too. So you really hope that you're not at a point where you're saying, I don't care if he leaves, and saying that over and over and over. Because you say that too many times, you're replacing him with somebody who comes in. And the more you do that, the more like you are to have to replace the replacement and just keeps going around and around and around. So what's going to be interesting to me is who re-ups publicly sometime soon here. Like, how are we going to see that? I don't know how this is going to look. What's the one if I land, two if I see for the transfer portal and who's staying? I mean, is it going to be Astor Auto has me covered, and that's a tweet by some redshirt sophomore defensive lineman they got to keep? I don't know. We'll see, but that's going to be a trend to watch. Is how do they win the retention battles? Because what you've explained makes sense to me, and I can see that being a way to go. I don't know how you change the people leaving and people plucking your best players, and then
Isn't that how it worked? Was that last year or 2 years ago where they started doing that? Where it's guys started tweeting out graphics that were like, I'm looking forward to being back in
yeah.
2025 or 2024, whatever it was. I love my GoMart stores, whatever. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was, but it was like it was official graphics essentially saying, I'm back. I've signed a new deal.
Gonna have to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
it becomes a thing too, because essentially everybody goes in the portal pretty much. I mean, if they don't, there'll be a few that don't, but like figuratively, literally, there's a difference. I understand, but anybody go in the portal every year now too. So a lot of work to do, but that's one thing I don't know. How do they fix the retention thing? Like, how do they game that? Like everything you've explained, I get it, but what's the plan for the retention side of it? Unless you combine the two, and like, all right, this guy's part of our 12 dudes we gotta pay him. Again,
Yeah.
who is that? I don't know. We'll see.
Shall we wrap it up and just prepare ourselves? Because I think Mondays, I don't even know if we can do a Q&A pod Monday because I mean, I know fans want to they'll have lots of questions, but by Monday, we might have too much to talk about.
You think
Like,
the Mercyhurst Lakers pull off an upset tomorrow? Is that what you're saying? Well,
that
hands
might be
down.
what I'm saying. But 36 hours, that might be enough time for, I mean, as you noted, there are people who have already had the discussions before the final game was even played. So 36 hours after the end of the game, there's going to be a lot of agents reaching out to, whomever all the national guys being like, "Ooh, my client will be entering the portal next month. And that'll be that.
Ceiling for Texas Tech. They go through to the Big 12 title game. They'll be favored against BYU. They get a bye.
Hmm.
I don't know how that's going to work out with Texas A&M losing, but the SEC winner may take that spot anyway. So there's a chance that they get in there for sure. They're a strong competitor than Arizona State was last year for sure for
Yeah.
me. And they went to overtime against Texas. I'm not sure about their running game. I love what they do with their running backs. Their defense is legit. I wonder if they can win like a 21-13 game because they've beaten everybody by 22 points. I wonder what's going to happen when it's close. When they lost, it wasn't great. but I really wonder if what happens when it's close and can they get first downs with the running game? Can they keep Morton healthy? And that's why, again, small thing, Morton's kind of delicate. They already lost their backup quarterback to an ACL, so they have QB3 in today. He gets popped in the first play, running like a read play, and he doesn't even last the first series. He gets hurt and comes out. And by the way, like a four-star comes in and just lights up the defense. So again, it must be nice to be Texas Tech. But I think they have a chance, but I'm really curious to see. I could see them winning. I could see them winning games if they don't get a bye. But I could see them winning a game in the playoff for sure.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting them to be again. They might get a bye, like you said. So hey, they're one of the favorites. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, top four. But when you have like, is their defensive line the best unit of any team? Like, like is they have the best defensive line, and somebody else might have the best offensive line, and somebody else has the best whatever. They might be the best team in the trenches, period. Offensive defense combined.
Aggregate. Ooh, okay. Because the funny thing is, like, we think they have these great pass rushers, and they do. They have the best rushing defense in the country. But
Yeah,
how much of that rush defense is because they're up by 3 touchdowns all the time? It doesn't make any sense to run. I don't know.
right.
I wonder how many running plays they've seen this year versus passing plays relative to the country. That'd be something I would look at for sure. I bet you the ratio is out of whack for them because they played so much from ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the team at that. I mean, this is what money buys. I understand that, but they have really good pieces that do what they're supposed to do. They have talent everywhere. They have depth. I would feel a lot better if they had another quarterback, probably though, because they're probably gonna need a quarterback at some time in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well, all right, we'll wrap it up and we'll decide tomorrow. And maybe after the basketball game, message each other and see what we want to do for the Monday morning podcast.
I like your idea of previewing things. It's not a bad idea.
Because, I mean, Wednesday's signing day. It's going to be nuts. I mean, there's going to be 40 some. We posted on the board some
Did you
information
now?
this morning. Huh?
Did you? You posted something on the board?
So I posted something on the board. If you're ever looking for a post on the board, I'm sure it'll be recapped in a video later. Um, and there's a lot that could be going on. Again, today, what happened today, not ideal for your pitch to recruits. Not the end of the world either. Like you're still got the, hey, this is why we're recruiting you.
Yeah.
Like,
Look at the scoreboard.
yeah, like you could play tomorrow. Like if we were going to a bowl game, I'd suit you up, that kind of stuff. So it's not the end of the world. It's not the greatest. I think it's a little concerning. And again, we're recording this immediately after the game is over. I haven't got any feedback from recruits yet. I'll be talking to them when they leave campus tomorrow. But they, I don't care if somebody's at the front door. Sorry. They have threw me off. Somebody's ringing my doorbell. Um, really like the atmosphere though, because I mentioned it to you. I said again, I'm watching from TV, and some of this stuff doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good. It looks half empty. It sounds like the only sounds I can hear is feedback from the announcer, from the PA announcer, from the scoreboard. It didn't seem like an electric atmosphere. That's what I would be concerned about. But that's only going to be limited to the handful of guys that were there this weekend, not the 30 some other guys that have already recruited.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Roll the dice. When we disconnect here, you want to tell me who they were talking about in those tweets?
Yeah, I can do that.
Just you and me. Okay.
As long as you don't tell anybody.
I won't tell anybody.
Don't make a video out of it
All
later.
right. Well, we got to go then. Until next time, I'm Mike Casaza.
And I'm Chris Anderson.
We'll talk to you then.